Hey folks, welcome to the show. Welcome back to the show has been growing lately, and I'm just happy with any kind of growth, and I'm very grateful for all of you who keep returning, or if this is your first time, I'm grateful for that too. But anyways, let's get into the fourth and final installment of the Battle of Alberta this year. Edmonton wins the series 3-1 with their 4-2 victory tonight. I thought it was a pretty decent game both ways. Wasn't as rough as other games have been, but there was less on the line in this game than there was in the other three games. But both teams took it seriously. It was rough. There was low hitting, unless the hitting count changes, because that can happen. But as of the latest hit number, which I'll get into, it was low hitting, but still pretty rough. A lot of the rough stuff came in the form of scrums and penalties. There was quite a lot. Power play ruled the game. There was only one 5-on-5 goal. Of the 6 scored, only one was 5-on-5. And when the game is decided by power plays, that usually means this year Calgary is going to get demolished. They didn't. Their power play was Jekyll and Hyde in a way today. So let's get into it. The first period is pretty even in a way. Oilers and the Flames both get some really good opportunities early, which Picard and Markstrom both turn aside. Fogle does get a breakaway, and Hyman also gets a breakaway, but both of those I don't think either of them result in a shot on goal, and that was because Markstrom played it well. He played big, and he forced Fogle and Hyman to, try to put the puck in a place, or place the puck in a really difficult position. So Markstrom might have got credited with the save on the second one. I couldn't get a good angle on Hyman's breakaway, but if not, it missed the net because of how Markstrom played it. But Calgary gets a power play opportunity 8 minutes and 44 seconds into the period when Perry goes off for slashing, and it might be one of the worst power plays you've ever seen. It's very, very bad. I think there might have been 5 seconds of possession time or something. I'm probably exaggerating, but it felt like Calgary just could not have the puck in the offensive zone during their own power play. It was just bad. And after that power play is killed, Calgary gets a second chance when Kulak goes off for interference. It was a soft call. And we'll talk about reffing too. At 12 minutes 17 seconds. And that power play was equally bad, though I think they had a bit more possession time. They hit a post this time, so that's good. I think they had like 1 or 2 shots on goal, actually, between these two power plays. It was just a dreadful performance by the Calgary power play, and I don't think any Calgary fan, certainly not the ones I'm friends with, could stand watching it, but they were forced to endure another one when Bouchard goes off for tripping 15 minutes into the first period, but Calgary fans are saved when Igor Sharangovich goes off for interference, so it becomes a 4-on-4, and Calgary fans are no longer subjugated to having to watch their team's power play just suck. There was a bit where Calgary's power play iced the puck, like on the power play. You have to be really, really bad to ice the puck. Edmonton's penalty kill did really good, but a lot of it had to come with Calgary's systems and not being able to set up at all. I think that's the issues. I haven't watched all of Calgary's games, but looking at it, I think Calgary's issues on the power play more have to do with they're not able to set up. Once they're set up, sure, great. They got some great shots on that team and great passers, but they just can't set up. And so just dreadful power play performance for Calgary. And if Calgary had any momentum, it was killed by their own power plays, just like Edmonton's was against the Avs the other night. Last night, nobody scored a power play goal between the Avs and the Oilers Friday night. But today, there would be 4 power play goals, and we'll get into those. And that begins when at the end of the first period, Kuzmenko goes off for tripping. 1 minute and 5 seconds out from this first intermission, and Draisaitl scores his 40th goal of the year, and he's assisted by Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and Connor McDavid, 2 names you'll hear more. My Calgary friend that said that the Flames should take notes. That's how you do a power play. It was a very efficient power play. So by the end of the first period, I didn't count but like Calgary had over 5 minutes of power play time, and they must have had maybe 3 shots on goals and a couple posts, maybe 4 shots on goal, something around there. Whereas the Oilers had around a minute of total 5-on-4 time and scored a goal. Just a tale of two different power plays. So just turning up my Halo music a bit, but that would change. The second period arrives, and the Oilers make it 2-0 when the Oilers' scrappy fourth line, scores 3 minutes 13 seconds into the second period. It was a Derek Ryan drive that caused some chaos in front of the net before Connor Brown puts it in the net for his 4th goal of the year, and he's assisted by Janmark and Ryan. The fourth line didn't get a lot of minutes. They were limited to 3.5 minutes together. That's because all 3 of them spend a lot of their time on the penalty kill. I like the line quite a bit. It's interesting how a lot of teams have fourth lines with these big bruisers, and for good reason. They have their place in the game. But the Oilers' fourth line are 4 defensively sound, scrappy, smaller players who play bigger than their size. Who are very good with getting takeaways, and Ryan is an excellent face-off taker. Anyways, Calgary gets, unfortunately for them, gets to go on the power play 33 seconds after that goal when Evander Kane goes off for slashing. But then something crazy happens. Calgary wins the face-off in the offensive zone, meaning that they're actually set up. And Sharon Govich scores his 30th goal of the year. It's his first 30-goal season. It's a very nice snipe that goes past Picard, and he gets assisted by Huberdeau and Kuzmenko. And it's a 2-1 game with all of the insults thrown by both Edmonton and Calgary fans towards the Calgary power play. The Calgary power play has made it a 1-goal game. But unfortunately for them, that's the one power play goal they're allowed for the week. At least that's what I told my friends, and they agreed until I realized I jinxed it. I try very hard not to jinx anything because I did it once with Jack Campbell, and I'm fully aware of the powers of jinxing. So I've probably said like 3 things in the last 2 years that are jinx worthy, and all 3 of them jinx the Oilers. Like, I can't be let off the hook just once. I say a lot less jinx worthy things than anyone else, and yet I still end up jinxing the Oilers more. And you can say, no, it doesn't exist. Superstitions don't exist. Yes, they do. I'm a goalie. They do. They are real. In the hockey world, outside, but hockey, it's real. So anyways, 2-1. And the second period is well, I was going to say a lot of back and forth, but actually Calgary controlled the second period a ton in that for the vast majority of the period, really. The Oilers are granted a power play opportunity 13 seconds out when there's a scrum in front of Picard after he covers it. Huberdeau and Ekholm both go off for roughing, but Huberdeau is also given an interference penalty, so it's a power play opportunity for the Oilers with the second period ending. Shots in the second period were 18-8. Very different story in favor of Calgary. I mean, very different story from the first period shots total, which were 9 apiece. So Calgary had taken over the game in the second period, even though the Oilers managed to score a goal and maintain a 1-goal lead through that second period. It was a lot of it had to do with their own goaltending and making sure that most of Calgary's chances weren't like super in front of the net. There were a few. Picard had to make some high danger zone saves. He wasn't required to make a diving save, but he there was a lot of saves that came from dangerous area that he made, and full credit to him. So third period comes around, and the remainder of the Huberdeau penalties is killed. Before Calgary gets another power play opportunity, almost 6 minutes into the third period. And like I said, Calgary's only allowed 1 power play goal a week, and everybody knows that. But the Oilers commit the ultimate sin, the ultimate heresy, by allowing Calgary to score 2 power play goals in a game. Kadri tips in his 25th goal of the year, and he's assisted by Kuzmenko's very smart, very good shot, who in turn was assisted by Sharon Govich. So Kuzmenko and Sharon Govich are now on the board for both of the Calgary goals, and it's a 2-all game because Calgary scored 2 power play goals for the first time in maybe 30 years. their power play was actually very elite in the 80s and 90s. I'm just obviously exaggerating because of how bad it's been this year, how bad it was in the first. But now in the third period, Calgary's power play scored 2 goals and made it a 2-2 game. But before long, at the 9-minute 52 mark, Edmonton gets to go on the power play when Shillington goes off for slashing, and Edmonton does convert. It's Evan Bouchard delivering a Bouch bomb, his 17th goal of the year. He's assisted by McDavid and Nugent Hopkins. The goal was quite a testament of the power of this shot. It goes off of a Calgary player who goes to the ground from the shot, and then the shot still has enough power to zoom past Markstrom. Just an incredible shot, which actually injured Hyman earlier. He did return, but he was down and had to leave the game for a bit because he got hit in the ankle with the Bouch bomb. There's not a lot of the body is sorry, I'm stumbling on my words. A lot of the body is protected, but I think where it hit him is one of the few areas where it's not, where it's right between the skate and the sock. That's where it looked like it hit Hyman. But he did return, so he's fine. But it's just, Bouchard's bombs were dangerous today. And this one hit the back of the net after giving a nasty bruise to a Calgary player, I'm sure. And now it's a 3-2 game, with the Oilers going on the power play again 13 minutes into the third when Zari goes off for tripping. Calgary does kill off 49 seconds of it before Draisaitl takes a penalty. I didn't see it happen, but I knew it was slashing. It's always slashing with Draisaitl, and when I saw the highlight, it was slashing. Him and Anderson were battling in front of the net. Anderson hits Draisaitl's shin. Draisaitl, it looked like it hurt, but it Anderson didn't wind up, so it was hard for the rest to notice. And Draisaitl does wind up, and it helps when Anderson does a dive. And I'm not saying that. My Calgary friends were saying that. I was like, was that a dive? And Calgary friends are like, oh yeah. They were more confident than I was. So I like Anderson, but I have a hard time respecting diving, no matter who does it. So Draisaitl goes off for slashing. It was a slash. Like, I'm not saying it shouldn't have been a penalty. It was. I just felt like, Anderson should have got an embellishment penalty or something. Anyways, it doesn't really matter because both of those penalties from Zari's tripping earlier and Draisaitl slashing is killed off, and the Oilers maintain their 3-2 lead until Nugent Hopkins extends it with an empty net goal, breaking his goalless streak with his 18th goal of the year, and he was unassisted. The game ends 4-2 in a pretty tight affair. Battle of Alberta games are usually quite intense. Even though the Edmonton Oilers won the series 3-1, as previously mentioned, none of them were really blowouts in a way. Calgary's lone win was 6-3, but 3 goals isn't that massive. So again, really a good game throughout. Maybe not as intense as other games were, but there were still scrums, still scoring, still hits, but not as many, and we'll get into that. I'll start with refereeing because that was a pointed discussion. It usually is, but I usually leave it out. But I think it was worth mentioning today is that, I didn't think it was that good. Both teams got some soft calls called on them. I think a lot of the interference calls that went against, actually all of them, I would say, which went against Kulak, Sharangovich, and Huberdeau were pretty soft and shouldn't have been called. I'm thinking, you know what, you should just not call interference in a Calgary-Edmonton game because of how rough it gets. Unless it's like blatantly obvious. If a guy goes and hits a guy without the puck, okay, yeah, obviously, or does a really bad pick, okay, yeah, sure, but that's a call. But with how much physical work goes into these games, Calgary and Edmonton games, you're probably just going to annoy fans more than you want, and probably call more soft calls than you want in these games. So I'm thinking they should just lay off when it comes to these two teams and other rivalries. But anyways, I don't think it affected the game that much, even though there was a lot of power play goals. I think most of the power plays were good calls, and again, both teams benefited from them. If you want to say one team benefited from the poor reffing more, maybe Edmonton, probably, but it wasn't noticeable enough. It was still an Edmonton victory, though it didn't always look like that. Calgary both hit and outshot the Oilers. Which is impressive to do both. Usually doesn't happen, but you're probably not going to be touting that around when you still lost 4-2. But for the purpose of stating facts, Calgary did outshoot the Oilers 35-27, mainly from the second period. I neglected to mention third period shots were 10-8 in favor of the Oilers, but the 18-8 second period shots in favor of Calgary made it a total of 35-27 for Calgary. Made it that big jump. Hits, Calgary out-hit the Oilers 17-12. Again, hit counts can change. I know earlier in the year, the NFL or NHL revealed that hit tracking was actually a little low, so they might come back to this. But as of when I recorded this, it was down there, which is pretty low for the Oilers. I don't know Calgary's hitting tendencies, but still pretty low. But it seemed like a lot more because of how much scrums were going on, which is standard for these two teams. That's why I love this rivalry. Face-offs, however, were in the Oilers' favor, 55.4%. Both teams were 2 for 6 on the power play, which is a pretty good number, 33.3%. Though I think Calgary was more happy with going 2 for 6 than the Oilers were because of how bad it started for Calgary's power play and how it had been. When it came to goaltending, Markstrom did have the bigger saves, and he had the better first period, and despite allowing a goal without Pickard allowing a goal in the first, but he had a lot of big saves. But eventually Pickard did win the goaltending battle. He had 10 more saves than Markstrom. Markstrom was 23 for 26, Pickard 33 for 35. Great bounce back game for him after getting destroyed by the Stars. Again, no, it wasn't all him, but not going to excuse him either. So great game by him. Oilers have lots of reason to be happy. They were very mature with their emotions. I think yesterday's game, my dad was mentioning how, and he was right, is that how emotional the game was yesterday. And I think a lot of people knew that the Oilers-Avs game would be emotional because the Oilers do see the Avs as, if they can beat the Avs, it's proof of them being mature and playoff ready. Because Avs just demolished the Oilers in the playoffs 4-0 a couple of years ago. And the Oilers fully took that game seriously. I don't know really what went wrong with the Avs. They were on a back-to-back, but that doesn't excuse what happened, really, to them. So the Oilers are coming off this big high, and I was hoping that they wouldn't, get cocky or super happy. They still took Calgary seriously. They usually do, but after the win that they had against a great team, they might not have, but they did. They took Calgary very seriously. They were very disciplined with their emotions outside of taking one too many penalties, but Calgary did too. So really good performance by the Oilers, headlined by the 3 stars. Being third, Evan Bouchard with the game-winning goal. He had a hit and almost 24 minutes on ice. I'm going to shout out the fourth line here. I really wanted to include Derek Ryan because he had the assist. That fourth line was the only line that scored a 5-on-5 goal during the game. And Ryan was very good in the faceoff circle and on the penalty kill. But I decided to give it to Bouchard in the end. And then second star with Calvin Pickard, 33 for 35, as previously mentioned. Their first star had 3 points. It was Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, 1 goal and 2 assists. He had a block, 5 takeaways, and 22 minutes and 51 seconds of ice time. So those were the 3 headliners. McDavid, I will point out, had 2 assists, which takes him to 99 assists. So he'll have a chance to make it 100 for the first time for any player to do since, the early 90s. Next game is a long ways away against the Vegas Golden Knights on Wednesday. So I should have a video out in between now and then. I'm looking at all the Bill Masterton Trophy nominations and stuff. That will probably be the next video. But until then, I hope you have a great rest of your day, night, wherever you're at. Thank you for watching the video, coming this far, and I hope to see you return. In the meantime, you can leave a like, comment your thoughts, and subscribe. Turn on notifications if you haven't already, assuming you think I've earned it and all that kind of stuff, but I think I have. Anyways, that's it for now. Have a great rest of your day, night, whatever. I already said that part. I'll see you when I see you.